It's Wednesday.
Yeah.
Best day of the week.
Best day of the week.
Wednesday to Wednesday.
Wednesday to Wednesday.
Brought to you on a Thursday. Getting into the Tesla news.
A short one this week.
Short one. Very short one this week.
Yes.
4 tabs opened. That's it. Just 4 tabs.
So just four nuggets of news.
First up, vehicle safety report.
Mm-hmm.
So Tesla, since I want to say, actually, I believe I'll be able to find it right here. Since Q3 2018, Tesla vowed to report their Autopilot safety data every quarter,
Mm-hmm.
where they simply lay out how many accidents there were
Mm-hmm.
in very vague terms.
Yeah.
And compare it to the national average. See, accidents are calculated, scaled, analyzed, whatever you want to say, based off of how many there are per mile. According to the NHTSA, and according to Tesla's NHTSA, recent data shows that the average accident happens 1 every 484,000 miles.
Mm-hmm.
So in the fourth quarter, for cars engaged in autopilot, there was only an accident for 1 every 3.45 million miles.
Mm-hmm.
For those without autopilot active, but keep in mind those cars still have other safety features.
Mm-hmm.
They still have radar, emergency braking, and all that. There was 1 accident every 2.05 million miles.
Mm-hmm.
It's controversial data. Dennis, you have a hot take on this?
Well, the controversial opinion, but not really controversial opinion, is that Tesla uses this data to say that their system makes it 7 times less likely to be in a crash. But that's not really exactly an apples to apples comparison, because at this point, Tesla is comparing autopilot miles to entire miles. So autopilot tends to be in highway settings where, you're just kind of driving in a straight line, and as long as you're paying attention and the system can pay attention to the cars in the front and maybe on the sides, you're good. You're not as likely to get in an accident. Whilst it doesn't it's not in use on city streets where there's many more variables and you're much more likely to get in an accident. So it's not particularly a apples to apples comparison when you're comparing autopilot miles, which are predominantly highway miles, to miles that are both driven in the highway and on city streets. But regardless, if you compare the accidents from Q4 2019, they have made an improvement still. So, like you said, it's 3.45 million miles this year, whilst last year was 3.0, an accident every 3.07 million miles that year. So, even still, if the 7 times more safe a metric isn't to your liking, Tesla is showing that autopilot itself is becoming safer. If you only look at this metric of how many accidents per miles you make.
Tesla actually gives a third number here.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have autopilot and don't have any safety features, Tesla drivers had an accident for 1 every 1.27 million miles. So compared to the 1 every 484,000 miles, statistically speaking, Tesla owners are just safer drivers in general.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know where the correlation is there. I don't know what causes that.
Probably how much money you spend on the car, and
but those are your stats.
those are the stats.
We have more safety news from Tesla. Dennis, talk about the Model Y.
Well, it seems to be a foregone conclusion at this point that Tesla will receive a 5-star safety rating from the NHTSA for their models. The Model Y recently got tested by the NHTSA, and lo and behold, it too scored a 5-star safety rating, joining every other model in the Tesla lineup that received a 5-star safety rating. Famously, what was it, the Model S or the X? Like, there's a story that it broke one of the machines that was so sturdy or whatever. So, even if you don't really believe in Tesla's safety in terms of letting it drive for you, their safety in terms of crash survivability seems to be pretty good. So Model Y is as safe as any other Model S, X, or 3. And one little tidbit that Tesla liked to report on was that the Model Y has the lowest rollover risk of any SUV recorded to date by the organization. Probably because it barely qualifies as a SUV, I think, because it's pretty small, so that center of gravity isn't that big to begin with. Obviously, something like a Cadillac Escalade is going to have a higher center of gravity and more likely to flip. But well,
just look at the Model X.
Yeah,
bigger means more likely.
Yeah, but even that had a good that one also had a good rollover rating. But the Model Y beat it out on that, but strictly because of its lower size and lower center of gravity. But regardless, Model Y 5 stars, good job.
They're also big and heavy.
Big and heavy, yes.
Big heavy cars, thanks to the batteries.
Yes, all in the bottom.
Think all EVs in general are pretty safe in regards to rollover risk. Just don't mention what happens after the rollover with the batteries catching on fire, and we're good.
Can't be saying that.
So, Model 3 in Europe, price has been decreased. Yes. So the price in Europe has always been higher, as is most American cars outside of America, or most cars outside of their country of origin in general.
Yes.
Here, Model 3 starts at $37,990. Over there, it previously started at actually $37,990 in US dollars. Over there, the new price, this is after a 3,000-ish price drop, is still a conversion of $48,400. So it's still over $10,000 more expensive to buy a Model 3 base.
That does include
than it is here.
The value-added tax, which I think is a flat like 16% or 17%, but before any subsidies. So do keep that in mind.
There you go. We have new Model 3 prices. It's not affected any of the other models. Probably because the S and X currently don't exist, and the Model Y you can't get in Europe.
So, people are saying that, because Tesla doesn't make any official statements anymore, we got to figure it out ourselves, is that the price drop is basically due to the fact that the dollar has weakened against the euro over the past year. So it just this price drop is just to keep it in line with what prices previously were when the dollar was stronger. So
I've also seen the argument made that these cars could potentially be coming from Giga Shanghai, which are more affordable to build.
Perhaps that too. We'll never know because no one will tell us.
Final news, battery news. Dennis?
Sticking in the continent of Europe, the Model Y that will be built in the Berlin Gigafactory will be the first to incorporate Tesla's structural battery design, which is showed up in the Battery Day, which is supposed to be analogous with the old airplane wings when they used to be an airplane wing with a gas tank in it, and then they were like, we could probably just make this lighter and keep the same amount of strength if we just make the wing the gas tank. So during Battery Day, Elon Musk and crew showed how the bottom portion of the car will be the battery and will function as the battery, but also as a structural unit that will connect the front of the car and the rear of the Model Y. So the Berlin Gigafactory will be the first factory that will incorporate both the structural battery and the new cells in the Model Y, and Electric obtained photos of the new structural battery, which takes a honeycomb shape, which is pretty popular in terms of its structural integrity but lightness. So those damn honeybees really had it figured out. But so it's just we know it exists. We kind of see what it looks like. Some of these pictures are kind of grainy, kind of done in a rush, but there's our first look at what the structural battery will look like. So people in the European market will get to experience this first, and us in America, it's going to take a while for us. According to Elon, any improvements that they approve in the Berlin Gigafactory will take about 2 years to get to both Shanghai and Fremont. So enjoy it, Europeans. Enjoy your new structural integrity.
That's it.
That's it.
Another short week.
Another short. You can't make up a new story on the spot.
Well, to update the Model S and X refresh, there's no update.
Let's hope.
It's now been about a month.
Let's hope that in between the time of recording and release of this episode, the refresh doesn't actually come out, so we don't look like idiots.
There has been no sightings of any new Model S or X, even in their distribution centers.
Mm-hmm.
There's none in Tesla showrooms, and no leaks. So,
as far as we know, they might have just stopped the S and X.
yeah, they might have just quietly canceled it.
They might have just ripped the Band-Aid off. It's over, guys.
But it's still on their website, and it still shows like an 11-week delivery. So, just gonna have to wait 11 weeks.
And hope that the first owners have video capabilities. And we saw the third row of the Model Y. We forgot to.
I think we covered that last week.
I don't know. We didn't see it last week. We saw this week, and how utterly useless it is. Sorry, not sorry. So we saw at least we did our first view of the third row of the Model Y, and it looks absolutely tiny.
Small.
And unless you're like 5'4" and below, 5'3", you're not gonna have a good time back there. I mean, even if you are 5'2", you're not gonna have a good time out there. I don't know who out here is buying a third row for the Model Y. Please let us know what your use case is. But that thing does not look comfy.